Yo, what is going on everyone? It's me, Mr. Premps, and we are back again for another week of a jam-packed chapter, an absolutely lit chapter of One Piece. Because One Piece chapter 130 is out, and my oh my, I know there's going to be a load of mixed emotions and a load of mixed thoughts on this one, because Kid, Law, Kinemon, Orochi, you name it, we had it. But again, Kid and Law, my oh my, it's actually so lit right now. But let me just apologize in advance because this chapter is still fresh in my mind and I haven't given it a second read yet. But I'm absolutely just so excited to give my initial thoughts and discuss it with you all. So without any further ado, let's get into this chapter. Oh, and spoiler alert, for those of you who may have not realized, but yes, this is chapter 1030, so if you haven't read the chapter yet, go and check it out before coming back to check this video out. Now the cover page is of Brook, and he's being careful not to step on any ants that are in military formation. But anyway, let me not dwell on that too much, because the chapter is called The Impermanence of All Things, and it starts off in the castle of Onigashima, where we have Drake, or should I just say Drake, and Scratchman Apoo, who are technically speaking in private. And I always wanted to know what was going to happen in this fight, and all has become very evident because Apoo seems to have always suspected that Drake was a marine spy, but he states how at this moment it actually just doesn't matter because he no longer is on the side of the beast pirates either. And I don't blame him. After the way that Queen treated him, I wouldn't be on the beast pirate side either. Now it appears that Apoo has an underlying go, and he proposes to join forces with Drake to take everything for themselves once this fight is finished. And that leads me to thinking, what is it that they actually want? Because yes, it's true that Drake is a spy, because we all know that he's in Sword. But what is Apoo talking about when he says taking everything for themselves? I know that they want to take Kaido down, but then what? It actually makes me wonder, what exactly will he be taking? And what is it that Drake actually wants? And why was he and Wano spying? Now remember how I said Apoo and Drake were alone? Well, that gets completely exposed in the next few panels, because we actually have a beautiful double page that shows that they were not indeed alone, and that 3 of the numbers were actually there eating and drinking. And it's numbers 1, 2 and 3. And it appears that they might be the strongest of the numbers, just by the way that they've been drawn and the way that they look. And we also get their names, which are Inbi, Fuga and Zanki. And I know the numbers were kind of hyped in the beginning and they were meant to be quite decent, so it'll be interesting to see what happens with them, because personally I thought they were completely useless. But in the midst of all of this, Drake asks Apoo whether he thinks he could even trust him, and Apoo responds that neither of them can be trusted, but this is just a temporary alliance to get what they want because they can both profit from this. We then pan away to the stairs that connect the second and the first floors of Onigashima's castle, and we join up with Usopp and Nami's group that also has Tama, Speed and the Gazelle Man. And they are going down to the first floor to escape the fire, and that fire is literally setting the whole place ablaze. And Tama's power has come so clutch because Hamlet is there helping them by carrying Komachio. And with all of this happening, Usopp and Nami get ready for battle as someone screams that there's a mysterious monster on the first floor. And I know this is going to rub so many people the wrong way, because it's Kinemon's lower body chasing people around while he calls for help. And at this moment Usopp lunges at him and stops him by grabbing his legs. And this is such an Oda thing to do. This gave me shades of Punk Hazard when Law split his body. And this is definitely a big ass pull by Oda, but I'll let him have this. Because here Kinemon can talk, but he can't hear because he hasn't got ears. But Nami kind of makes the crescent of rebellion mark with her finger on Kinemon's leg before Kinemon realizes that he's with allies and explains what happened to him. Now upon hearing what happened to him, Usopp grabs Kinemon's legs, jumps on Hamlet and goes to find Kinemon to put his body together. Kinemon tells them that they should go to the attic on the left through the entrance on the first floor and that they should hurry because his friends are badly injured. And this just makes me think, Since Kinemon is directing what route they should take, who else are they going to bump into? Because we cut to the area where Kinemon is and we can see the other half of his body, but also the fact that Kanjuro is on the ground and Kiku is there laid covered in blood. And here is what we learn of what happened to Kinemon. And I'm sure that this is where everyone is going to say, yes, massive arsepool Oda, because we all saw that Kinemon got stabbed by Kaido. But apparently the cut that Law gave him all the way back in Punk Hazard was still in effect, because it appears his body didn't join correctly, and that's where he was cut again. And out of nowhere, a voice is heard from a nearby Denden Mushi, and it's Orochi trying to contact Kanjuro. And with Kanjuro on the brink of death, Orochi congratulates him for the terrific role that he's played. But this is just how rotten Orochi is, right? Because he speaks about their Kurozumi ancestors and that they're waiting for him, and he wants Kanjuro to paint something amazing one last time. And Kanjuro actually does this, as he paints the deep-seated anger of the Kurozumi clan to end everything in this castle as per Orochi's wishes. And Kanjuro paints a giant fire demon before drawing his last breath, and it appears that this demon is like no other. This drawing can go through walls and everything, literally everything that it touches bursts into flames. And even Kaido's subordinates are looking at it like, we are not touching this monster, and instead they are running away. We then pan away to Momonosuke, who's creating little by little more of his flame cloud. But honestly, I've got to point out that I've got no faith in Momonosuke, but I know he's going to pull something out the bag at the very last second, even if it's just a delay for a few seconds. But Oda also gives us a quick look at what's happening with everyone else, as we see Brook and Robin fighting alongside the Minks. We also see Marco, Izo and Kawamatsu fighting as well. But more interestingly, we also get to see that CP0 is no longer in the guest room, and it appears that they are making their move as they are walking somewhere. And lastly, we also get to see Sanji, Luffy and Zoro are continuing their fights against Queen, Kaido and King respectively. But back to Orochi, because like a true villain, he sat somewhere in the warehouse and is laughing. As he states, the Alliance, the Emperors of the Seas, you've all ridiculed me for too long. But that he knows that there are a bunch of weapons in the basement of this castle, because they were indeed created by him. So for Kanjuro's monster to ignite it and set everything ablaze. He also does state that Fukurokuju, who we know is fighting Raizo, must hurry as they need to escape, but he doesn't care what happens in this war between pirates. We do in this moment get to see a panel of Yamato running towards the weapons arsenal as a bunch of Kaido subordinates, I don't know, maybe try to stop her, but to be honest they're just all fodder, so completely irrelevant. And as Yamato is on the way to the basement, she sees one of the castle walls explode thanks to a powerful wave of energy, and she hears someone screaming. But now for the juicy stuff, because this scream was because of Big Mom, and she's using Eiichiro sovereignty, and out of that fire, that explosion, it's Eustass Kid, and that giant skull metal robot that he created has been completely destroyed. And Big Mom is looking so beastly here as she's riding Prometheus and has Napoleon and Hera fused together as she goes off to finish off Kid. But at this point we see a flashback of a conversation between Kid and Law, and this conversation took place probably a couple minutes before. And in this conversation, Kid asks Law whether his ability has awakened, and Law confirms that yes it has, but he's still not used to it, so will only use it in the case of life or death, as it consumes far too much energy. And you can only imagine how hyped I am, because what? When did this even happen? We've been with Law for so long now, and we didn't even know he had awakened his power. And Kid says the same here, in regards to not being able to use it because it consumes a lot of energy. But he also states that they can't beat Big Mom fighting normally, and so they're gonna have to use this ace up their sleeves. But back to the present now, because whilst Big Mom is busy attacking Kid, Law uses his new technique named Croom. And that's right, you heard me, Croom and not Room. And he uses an anesthesia, and this allows him to create a small version of Room which he holds with one hand, and then with anesthesia he's able to coat his sword with that Croom, and then he teleports behind Big Mom and he stabs her right from behind, and the tip of his sword comes out of Big Mom's chin. And Law states that thanks to this ability he can create waves from inside Big Mom's body. And this is absolutely amazing, and something I want to touch on later, because being able to attack from the inside of someone's body is what Luffy was trying to do all along. But this ability is broken because as Law sends a shockwave through Big Mom's body, for the first time we actually see her scream in pain as blood and smoke come out of her mouth. And with the homies so shocked to see Big Mom bleed, Big Mom turns to Law in anger, and Kid takes his opportunity to attack her as he uses a move named a sign, and with this technique he turns Big Mom into a giant magnet due to his awakening. And all of a sudden Napoleon's body is attached to Big Mom because she's become a giant magnet, and slowly all the metal weapons of everyone in the area begin to attract to her, and then slowly all the metal structures do the exact same thing, and now Big Mom is just having all metal things pulled towards her. And in this confusion, Kid asks Law to help him escape from this, and Law in pure comedic fashion states that Kid shouldn't be giving him orders. And Kid's power is really in full show here, as we get an amazing double spread of him using his Punk Crash Awakening attack, and we see all the nearby metal structures like steel beams crash down with great force on Big Mom's body thanks to her magnetism. And that brings the chapter to an end. Oh, and there's no break next week. And my oh my, what a chapter. There's actually not that much to say because there's so much to say. But this chapter literally speaks for itself. But tell me, what was your favourite part of this chapter? And are we rating Kid and Law a lot more than before? Let me know down in the comments. But as usual, if you like anything I've had to say, then please make sure you leave a like on the video. And if you want to support your boy, then make sure you subscribe to the channel so you never miss out when I drop more reviews just like this. Say.